And that's pretty shady. So how much of that are you willing to tell? Our story is going through some changes, and we're still trying to figure out what all those changes are. We sat down a couple days ago, and we're trying to figure out, what does our story actually look like? What are the areas that we need to focus on figuring out what goes in this area? And we realize that there's still a lot of unanswered questions that we need to figure out.
And this is a spoiler video, so we're going to look at maybe a little some of the details that we have talked about in future videos. But we've got these different parts to our story, and this is a time travel story. So one of the areas we want to explore is things went one way, and this is what happened. So they tried to make some changes, and then we go back and revisit the same period of history, and things went the other way. And we keep going back and forth. So which way is first? Which reaction to what caused what?
Because we're having two different, paradoxical strengths, I think is a term you've used to describe it before, of, what was it? Liberty and security, yes. I think were the two terms that we had used. And one group, and I don't think have we figured out which group is which side yet?
You know, I don't know that we have. I think we have, yes. The erg is on the side of too much liberty, and the cab is on the side of too much control.
Epoch Research Group and Knowledge Acceleration Board.
Right, yes, for those who have missed previous spoiler videos.
One is on the side of, erg on the side of too much liberty, cab on the side of too much security, and one of those is going to be the reaction to the other kind of going too far in one direction, like, oh, we need to be over here instead, and then going too far in this direction. But we're not sure which one happens first. Could each happen first before the other? Could one happen and then the other happen and then the other happen again? I don't know where exactly we're going with that yet.
But we keep going and saying, oh, but this is a reaction to that. So this part of this plot point, this story idea is going to be told in this part of the story, and then the reaction to it is going to be told over here. But what if we swap these things around and put these things in the other order, and we keep finding ourselves in cycles?
And it's very hard to make progress because we can't figure out where things go relative to each other. And that part has been a little bit difficult. So that's one of the unanswered questions that we have. But also within each of those groups, we're still not sure exactly how they act, because both groups are doing some pretty shady things, and they're doing some things that are kind of raise some moral red flags. And so a question that we're asking ourselves is, how bad are we willing to let them be willing to be?
Right. Yeah, I mean, some of the examples are, even the whole premise of the story is that we've had these genetically modified human beings that they have been birthed through surrogates and then sent back in time.
And that's pretty shady. So how much of that are you willing to tell? Like, if you are the group, I think that's the fringe, then a completely different group as well.
But related,
yes.
Somehow.
Another thing we're still trying to figure out. The fringe is doing that, and they need to try to get people on board, so they need to give a little bit of an idea of what they're doing. But if they told everything, they probably wouldn't be able to get people on board because of how morally questionable it is.
And even within the group, how many of the members really understand what's going on? And somebody's asked me when we were sharing that we just feel kind of stuck. We haven't been able to make the progress that we wanted to. Somebody asked, are you just being too perfectionistic? And I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just, this is a really hard story to tell.
It is. And of course we want to make something good. So there is going to be that temptation towards perfectionism.
Yes.
But I don't think that's what we're struggling with right now, because we're struggling with direction in not necessarily big picture direction, but getting into the weeds and seeing, where does this storyline take us? and what thread do we follow here, and we're just not sure how to follow that.
It's more of a, okay, this is where we think we're going to end up, but how do we get there from here? Back to the bridge metaphor that we used a couple of weeks
ago. Which a lot of story writers say is one of the hardest things, is getting from one place to another in a way that makes sense and is entertaining. So we have a lot of work still to do on figuring out our plot, figuring out how the story is going to progress, what characters are going to do, and our brains feel a little bit tangled right now.
Yes,
so our question for you, and this is genuinely asking for advice because we need help. What do you do when your brain feels tangled while trying to move forward? If you have anything that can help us out, let us know in the comments, and we will see you again in 2 weeks.